sexuality, we have one question to address. Should LGBTQ culture be taught in primary school if you're overseas, or middle school or elementary school? And do you agree with that? Hey Mazi, do you think that LGBTQ culture should be taught at, I guess, a very young age of elementary school?
Hell no. And the reason I say hell no is because I feel like that's basically like teaching your ideology on somebody. For example, if I'm Muslim and I'm teaching it, you see what I'm saying? I'm teaching Islam in school. No, that's not right. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's my perspective. That's my way of life. Why am I putting that on you? Especially at such a young age, you know what I'm saying? When you're so impressionable. I don't think that would be a good idea.
And plus, they already tell you in science class you got what, asexual, you got heterosexual, you got homosexual. There you go. You know what it is. You know what it is now. So I don't think it should be taught more in depth unless you personally, like, let's say there are two. How can I put this? Let's say there are two homosexual parents in a household, and their child has to go to school and come home. I feel like it's up to them to tell their child, like, hey, you know,
this is okay.
You know, mom and dad, this is what this is. I don't feel like at school it's their priority to be like, you know what I'm saying, you should have like a homosexual instructor telling you like, hey, this is what it is. No, I think that's too in depth. I feel like wherever your household is should be responsible for kind of telling you
what's going on.
Yeah.
And in elementary school, why are you learning about sexuality? You're too young. You don't learn about sexuality with a woman and a man in elementary, so why would I teach you anything else? They're too
Also, at that age, that's like a very tender age. It's kind of like grooming at that point too, because like kids absorb so much, especially in elementary school, primary school. You're not really giving them the option to be themselves, because if you're teaching them that particular sexuality, more than likely they're gonna be that way.
It's on top of the fact that they already kind of had a perspective like, ew, boy,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just gonna add on top of it.
That's how
it's like if you never taught like somebody what killing was, they would never, you know what I'm saying? Unless that's what they're subjected to every day. They see it, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it got to be brought up. Like,
that's something for high school. Because at high school, you start to learn about sex. And
you're
I
more
say
developed.
no, period, point blank.
no, yeah, period though. Not even high
Well,
school.
in high school, they teach you about STDs. They teach you about sex.
Yeah,
But I'm not
that's-
gonna teach you about the LBG. No,
You're
like,
not-
if you want to
they're
learn
not
about that,
teaching
you
you
can
the
research
choices
that on
you
your
should
own.
make
Like,
other than medical.
I don't feel like our tax dollars should go to that.
That's facts.
You know, I think that we're missing a point here, because if you go back to even what you were saying in elementary school, like, sex has been taught in elementary
No,
school.
it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Not in elementary.
She mentioned something about programming a while ago. There's pink and blue. They might not say guys and girls, but they're associating certain things with guys and girls, and certain things should look like each other. Even like they
Has nothing to do with sexuality.
No, but
Hold
you're
on.
missing the point.
No, but
it's
even when-
gender versus sexuality.
Those are not
Two
the same
different
thing.
things.
But let him
I get-
finish.
The point that I'm trying to get at is that those things are programming the kids to believe that it has to be a guy and a girl. Even though you said earlier that you want them to have the choice to be able to pick what they want, but if you're already making them feel like, oh, it has to be this male cartoon and this female cartoon for it to make sense, you're already taking away from that choice that they have. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, but she was saying
you're
don't teach
already-
it at all. You don't have to teach male and female, just like you don't have to teach male. Elementary, they're too young to talk about sexuality. You can tell someone, this is a penis, this is a vagina, this is how it works, without telling them
What's your
men
preference,
can like
yeah.
women can like women. At elementary, they're too young to talk
I
about
agree with you,
sexuality.
but we cannot ignore the fact that certain things are being taught.
So what's your opinion?
I think
Do you
you're
feel like it should be
getting
taught or
confused
not?
with gender.
Right.
Not even that. Do you think like
Yes.
it should be taught or not? Because you sound like it should be taught because we're already teaching the Atlanta.
I think it should be taught.
You
I
think
don't-
like
I'm
a child
not-
should be
In
taught
elementary school?
what all of the letters of the
I think
LGBTQ
he's saying-
LMNOP?
I think what he's saying is because they're subconsciously programming the gender roles that is already leading to the sexuality of boy, girl, and men and women. And that's why he's saying that maybe it should be taught then.
Okay,
But
So my argument to that would be, we can all agree that that's the norm in every single species on the planet other than the human species.
yes.
I mean,
Okay, so
Just to answer your
and that's why I said the
Just to
norm
answer your
amongst
question.
everybody else. I didn't say human because I don't want
Yeah, that's
anybody
law.
to feel
Right, that's
offended
human law.
by saying, okay, man and woman is the normal. No, that's just the most accepted. Let's say it's not normal.
Yeah, that's
Amongst
how you
every
produce.
other mammal, that's how you produce.
That's how you
Okay,
That's true.
so
That's
even
true.
if we do not teach that, that is the only way that our species will continue
To
to
produce.
produce.
Yeah.
Right? So even if they choose to teach it, we see the underlying goal of teaching it. If nothing but self-preservation, as far as our species goes.
Or
That's where I
teaching
look at
people
it.
how babies
If they are
come into this
subconsciously
world.
teaching
I
it,
think y'all are missing a point.
I'm
again.
not.
All right,
Okay.
hold on, guys. How about
You can teach that and still let somebody know that they can still have a male counterpart. They can still have a female counterpart. We're not talking about reproduction here. What I'm talking about, like, even go to author, like, as kids shows that we watch, relationships are usually painted as boy and girl. What I'm saying is
Not
Mm-hmm.
that
nowadays.
yeah, but what I'm saying is,
But
what
it's
I'm
to feed a narrative of family.
that's that's based on what you are okay
No, it's not what we're okay
It's
with.
the questions that come with
Okay.
it.
with. Which is okay, but even when it comes to sex, like we act like the question that comes with it is being answered at school. We go and do our own research. based on-
Exactly.
So, but the thing is that when it comes to that, we still are being told about it in school.
Not in
And,
elementary.
and we're not in elementary school.
But
We're talking
the
about
question
elementary
is,
school.
should it be taught in primary school?
Which
And I
is
see what
elementary
you're saying
school.
by
Little kids.
I see what you're saying by okay, pink is for girls and blue is for boys, and if you like blue as a girl, then you might be like, oh, do you think you want to be a boy? But that's I don't think that's right either. I feel like you should be able to like whatever color you want to, and I think that does feed into like molding. But I also don't think that sex or like sexual orientation should be taught in elementary school. Like once we get towards like the end of middle school, high school, then I think that that's a very important conversation to have. I feel like that's when people start finding themselves truly, like you know, like around that preteen age is when people start experimenting and exploring who they really are. But as kids, I don't feel like your brains are so impressionable. Like I don't feel like I don't feel like we should teach the straight being straight.
And
or
that's
being
where-
There's a
and that's
reason why
why-
there's an age limit for certain video games.
PG-13.
No,
Parental
like, we're not.
guidance.
I'm not.
How about in this
I'm
case?
not debating that. What I'm saying is that, like, I get what y'all are saying, but let's take a step back. Yeah, you're saying that this should be taught in middle school, high school, but even prior to that, you already pre-programmed them to believe that certain things should be matches. Like, for example, this. Like, if you go to a kindergarten class, you look at the things on the wall. You see that they're pairing male and female together. The idea of I can't even be paired as a male and male together or a female and female together, you're already stripping me of that indirectly.
Why would they not pair a male and male together?
Because it's not. When you look at it,
I don't even know the illustration you're talking about.
I think
That
you're
makes no
saying it.
sense.
I think you're saying it more so of the fact because they're pairing it together just because that is the dominant.
But
And that's still a teaching.
Relationship.
But
So
And
you're
just
not
because-
pairing
and-
kindergarten girls
Oh,
or
no,
girls
no,
boys
no.
together for
No,
them to
like
be in a
pictures
relationship.
along the wall, how you see like the little cartoons and
families.
like the little families.
Of a
It's
family.
Hold on.
Not even family.
But wait, so now what is a
Other
family?
than
It's not even-
cartoons that I remember
It's
growing
not
up.
even that, but what he's saying is just to start kind of
You're
programming
already
it
teaching.
like
That's
subconsciously
normal.
because that's literally what already happens now.
But
Guys,
is
how
that
about
the
this?
school's job
How
or
about-
the parents' job?
Yeah,
That's what I'm
how about
saying.
this, right?
But
So,
it's the
look,
school job doing it now though.
there's a norm that if you look through evolution, to reproduce, to do this, there's a norm. So for the most part, in classrooms, we'll start with the norm. But like I said, as human beings are evolving, we're now understanding that sexuality is not as simple as black and white. It's not A and B. It's not A and B, right? So with that being said, I want to ask someone who has, I guess, a different sexual orientation that I was not growing up with. Suni, how do you feel about this question? Do you think that LGBTQ should be taught in, I guess you could say, primary school, elementary school?
Well, I agree with everyone. I don't believe it should be taught as far as the sexuality part. I do believe the history of it should be taught because it could give a lot of kids a deeper understanding of what maybe they are or a family member of theirs is and how they are, how they walk through life and everything. There's so many different people on this earth, so we can't really,
say what it is, you know, at a young age, what we need to be teaching them. So, I mean, as far as sex, no, but definitely the history. There's so much stuff that I guess heterosexual people don't really see or never learned about as far as pride and how it came to be. And black people really died for that, just like they did for equality as far as black and white. It's really the same thing as far as the research that I've done. But no, I mean, that's too young of an age. Like, I couldn't picture myself being in class that young. I mean, seeing that as far as sex, no, but seeing at a young age, I think I would have more closure with myself because I wouldn't feel so weird or out of place. I would say, okay, I learned this in class today. You know, maybe I could see if this is what I really like or see what kind of person I want to mold myself to be instead of just being lost and feeling different. So, I mean, it's really levels to it.
I wanted to ask, what age did you feel like you were like, okay?
I would have to say like 5th grade is when I started looking at girls and I'm just like, nah.
Can I pick on that was the point that I was gonna make, like, that you shouldn't be teaching it that young because, like, you don't see elementary students dating. Like, that's more for, like, middle school and stuff when you start exploring attraction and feelings. It makes more sense to do that in middle school.
I will say
elementary. Fifth grade is elementary.
It's elementary, but LGBT
going in. Elementary. Fifth grade is elementary.
It's elementary, but LGBT
going in.
Hold on.
There's some elementary.
Hold on. Let her finish.
I will say one thing. It doesn't only refer to people who are who have a sexual preference. It also refers to people who maybe feel like were born into the wrong sex. So if at like 5th grade or 4th or 3rd grade, they feel like they're a girl but they were supposed to be a man, if no one ever talks to them about it, they're gonna feel different, they're gonna hide it. So maybe we should talk about that aspect of it, of those feelings of you may feel different and that's okay, but not so much as to who you're attracted to, more so of how you feel, what's your identity.
You know,
So can I ask y'all a question real quick?
Your brain is
Time out. Can I
But
ask y'all a question real quick?
there are girls and they're going through transitions because their parents have allowed them to.
And I don't agree with that because it's too young of an age. I've seen a lot of people be young and say, hey, I want to be a girl. And then they get older and they change their mind because they don't think the same. And that's where I don't agree with because you need time to develop who you are, if you're gay or not. Like, you don't even know yet.
Yeah. Right.
That draws too many questions within yourself and within everything you're interacting with.
But
so
you
At what point does parenting start and stop?
being too curious in that age is kind of, it might be dangerous.
Yeah, and letting your child transition at elementary school is madness.
Yeah,
I don't care what
that's
nobody
low
says.
key.
I don't even care about family, but that's
My
madness.
friend's son is in elementary school and he said that he told his mom that he thinks he's gay.
Okay.
So, how would you react to that?
Oh my gosh. That is
In
crazy
elementary
for an adult to hear
But
that
that's
and just
because
accept
that's what
it.
he sees.
Do you know how many
But
stupid
what are you
little boys
supposed
is
to do?
whipping their
Be
dick
like,
out in front of
that's
their little
wrong.
friends and comparing that shit? Imagine if they tell that to a gay man and he says, oh man, did you like what he looked like? You're gay. And he believes it. That is.
No, he's not
But what are you gonna
unless
do?
He feels it.
That's a feeling.
There is no.
He's in school with
There's
people
no-
who
But
are.
what if he looks
So-
up to this man?
hold on.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, but no.
influences
no,
are
'cause
real.
There is no, oh, he said it, so I must be gay. No, it's
Okay.
not that. It's, oh, okay, I look at a guy and I feel something. That's gay. I must be gay. I fucking like his. I like that ass. I want to get in there. If you look at another guy's ass and you like, I mean, it's common sense. You're not gay or you gay. Like,
But you're a kid though.
I will say
somebody
this.
else can't tell you if you're gay or not.
Off of what you said, I feel like us as a society, where we are, if we were the teachers, I don't think we're ready to teach that in elementary school.
Because
Even
the
as the
teachers don't have
teachers.
any
Because
knowledge.
how is the average person
Yeah.
we haven't got to a state in which we can be unbiased, teach it unbiasedly.
So should there be a course maybe in school that teaches
Can I
that?
say something?
I don't think so because I don't think that's society we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Guys. So
I feel
I'm gonna let. Hold on. I got you next. I'm gonna let Mozzie. Mozzie's been aching to say something. Mozzie,
You
what's
can
up?
speak up too, man. Just to kill the whole conversation.
Kill it.
Look, hold on, time out. So some of y'all do agree that it should be taught in school. Not necessarily in primary school, but in school period.
At some point. Yeah.
So why don't they teach white supremacy in school? What's the difference?
That's what I was gonna get to.
What's the difference? At the end of the day, it's something that I'm very passionate in. If liking niggas, like if you a nigga and liking niggas is what you do, you're passionate about that. That's the same thing. Like if I'm white and I'm
if you teach the history of
They do
gays,
history of it.
then you're
They
gonna
teach the
fall
history
into
of
that
race
aspect
too.
because they have gone through the same thing, being gay and you're black. Oh yeah.
so
It
why
falls
don't
in the same
But
thing.
why
white
don't teach white
supremacy,
But they
if
teach
you're
the history of
comparing
it, though. You
something
heard about
that's
the Ku Klux Klan,
unequal,
bitch.
white supremacy is something
but they don't
that
teach white
results
supremacy
in
though. They
something
don't say,
bad.
oh yeah, man, we
But
good.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
and this
My
the
thing-
niggas
the
and
fact
y'all
that you-
wait, bro.
My thing-
I'm not gonna say that confidently.
I just
always.
want to know why
Why
white
doesn't-
Everybody that
supremacy
believes
and
in white power is not
LGBTQ,
trying
like
to
one of them is
oppress
very
black
violent and it's just, you know, white
Okay, we can say black
see-
empowerment. Why don't they teach black empowerment in school?
I was
They
gonna
should
get to
have,
that.
yeah.
because we're a minority.
But I'm saying black empowerment,
that's-
not
that's
necessarily
the
minority.
Because
So
there's
is
not-
Hey
LGBT
guys, I can't. What you gotta say?
She made a point and he made a point, and I think he's off of some shit, bro.
He was like,
Because I feel like you're justifying what they teach in school by popularity and what's normalized by who's in power right now.
Right.
There's a certain point where black people were not empowered and white supremacy or white culture was just being taught to us that we're just supposed to submit to them or whatever the case is, and we weren't okay with that. Just because we're not the popular people right now does not mean that our feelings or how we feel it's not important or does not exist. That should not take away from the fact that we should be acknowledged in the books too. And that's where if we're speaking on, I'm not saying you got to be showing like sexual acts in elementary school. No, there's certain things that we don't teach sex and they're sleeping with each other in elementary school. There's different ways to teach certain things. You know what I'm saying? And the same way that you acknowledge the guy and girl, you can acknowledge the guy and guy
as a normal family.
as a normal
And
family.
we're talking about in
That's
health.
not what I'm
We're
saying.
talking about in
That's not what he
health,
said.
though.
But that's what I'm saying.
But-
No,
but that's what
the
you
question
said.
was,
But I feel like we're
should
only
it be
talking-
taught in primary school?
No.
And regardless of how it's taught should be in question.
Yeah.
That's what that might be a different conversation. But as far as like, should it be acknowledged?
I mean, it is
Yes.
acknowledged. You said that
White
earlier.
supremacy is acknowledged.
You
Can't
said
get-
it was
no.
acknowledged earlier. You was
Somebody-
like
somebody
homosexual or
made a point.
Somebody
heterosexual.
did make a point.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody
LGBT
already made a point.
community
Like,
is
it's
not
already
only
acknowledged
sexual.
in the book.
That's what I'm about to
It's
say.
We don't.
gender.
I'm about to
It's
talk
also
about
gender-based.
transgenderism. I'm about to talk
So I
about
will say
socialism.
it's also
Guys,
gender-based.
one at a time.